Hello YouTube, welcome back to another video, and today we'll be grading every single number one pick since the year 1980, so for 53 years basically, and we'll be grading every single first round pick, or not first round pick, but number one pick. And the way I'm going to grade these is what they did for the franchise, how good they were for the franchise, if what they were traded for, if they made the Hall of Fame or not, if they spent a large portion of their career in that team, and also who they were drafted over. So as an example, if like the number one pick was pretty good, but there was a much better player that was number 3 or number 2, then that player's grade will go down, as there was a better player they could have chosen that was also one of the top picks, right? And also, players under 25 will be considered by how good they are so far in their career. So, like Anthony Edwards is an easy A+ since he's been playing at an all-star level for the past 3 years. So yeah. Anyway, for the first draft, it's a 1980 draft. The number one pick was Joe Barry Carroll for the Warriors. I'm giving it a B. Dude was a solid scorer for a couple seasons. Dude he was okay, alright? He's mid. He didn't win him a championship or anything. Mark Aguirre, B+, one of the greatest Dallas Mavericks players of all time. He was a good scorer and everything, pretty good. So that's why I give him a B+ for that. James Worthy is an easy A++, because he and Magic and Kareem all won multiple championships for the Lakers. Aside from that, dude was also just a star player in general. Dude's a really good Hall of Famer as well, so easy A++. Ralph Sampson, B-. And I know he was a star player and everything. At the same time, dude only played a couple seasons, and dude was injured constantly, couldn't stay healthy. He really didn't do much for the franchise. That's a B+, B-. Hakeem Olajuwon's an A++, won the Houston Rockets, which is, my favorite team, 2 championships. That's an easy A++. Patrick Ewing's an A+. He never won them a championship, but he's still the greatest Knick of all time, in my opinion. So that's an easy A+ as well. Brad Daugherty's a C+. He was pretty good, but dude had a short career because he got injured a lot. So, and, he's an all-star and everything, but he's not in the Hall of Fame either, so he's a C+. David Robinson for the Spurs, A+, and I know he technically won a championship with them. At the same time, he wasn't really that good. Tim Duncan was the main player on that championship team, so he's an A+ still, though. Danny Manning is a C+. Dude was pretty solid, really. He was a good player. Still C+, though. He's mid. Purvis Ellison's a D+. He was pretty good in his first 2 seasons, but afterwards he wasn't really that good. He didn't get traded for anyone good either, so that was a terrible pick by the Kings, really. Derek Coleman for the Nets, that's a C+. He was pretty solid, but didn't do much for the franchise, so yeah. Larry Johnson is a B. That is a B. Dude, he was pretty solid. He's one of the greatest Hornets of all time, but never won a championship. Didn't really make it far in the playoffs or anything. He was just solid, though. Shaquille O'Neal's an A+. Got him to the finals. I don't know, he only played for them for like 4 or 5 seasons, but in those seasons, he was still one of the best players in the NBA. Took him to one of the, I think they only have 2 finals appearances with Dwight Howard and Shaq. Those led teams, took him to one of their only finals appearances, so that's an A+ as well. Chris Webber to the Warriors. Chris Webber got traded after his first year, so I'm giving it a C because he was really good in his rookie season. He was averaging like a 17-point, almost a double-double. But, he got traded afterwards. He got traded for 3 first-round picks to the Kings. But those picks aren't really valuable or anything. I don't think they drafted anyone good with it, so that's a C move. And the Warriors are incredibly stupid for trading Chris Webber. Glenn Robinson for the Bucks, I'm giving it a C. He was okay. He's mid. Joe Smith for the Warriors, also another C. Warriors do not know how to draft with their first round picks. Seriously, Curry and Clay and Draymond are like the only good picks they've ever had. Shit's stupid, bro. That's a C for Joe Smith, though. Allen Iverson for the Sixers, A+, took him to one of their only finals appearances ever. Arguably the greatest Sixer of all time. That's an easy A+. He was drafted. I know. At the same time, though, actually, no, never mind. He's a first ballot Hall of Fame. It's an easy A+, honestly. Tim Duncan, A++, the greatest power forward of all time and the greatest Spur of all time. Won him, 5 championships? Yeah, I think 5, so that's an easy A+. In fact, that should be A+++. Michael Olowokandi is our first F of this video. Yeah, dude was not very good. He's an F pretty easily. Elton Brand 1999 draft. You know, Elton Brand first 2 seasons, I think, with the Bulls, he was actually really good, but they traded him for Tyson Chandler. And Tyson Chandler is good and everything. At the same time, though, trading a future star player and borderline Hall of Fame player who also had a really good rookie and sophomore seasons is stupid, so that's a C. Kenyon Martin on the Nets, C+. He was very solid. I'm pretty sure he was on the Jason Kidd finals teams as well, so he did a good job with them. Kwame Brown's our second F of this video. Dude was pretty notoriously terrible for the Wizards, actually. Yao Ming on the Rockets. I was gonna originally give him a B, but at the same time, he did make the Hall of Fame and still had several All-Star, All-NBA seasons. He couldn't really stay healthy and he didn't take us to the finals or anything though, so that's why he's still a B+. 2003 draft, LeBron James, that's an A+++. Arguably the greatest player of all time, and yeah, he's the best player. Actually, yeah, fuck it, whatever. He's the greatest number 1 pick of all time by far. Yeah, that's LeBron right there. 2004 draft, Dwight Howard for the Magic, A+. Took him to the finals. Was a star player, 3 DPOYs and everything. He was really, really good. For the 2005 draft, Andrew Bogut, number 1 pick for the Bucks, D-. He was a good role player for the Warriors, but he didn't get traded for anything good, really, and he was not that good for the Bucks, and he was a waste of a first-round pick, so, yeah, D-. Andre Bargnani, D+. He was a solid role player, I think when he joined the Knicks, I think. Dude wasn't that good for the Raptors, though. He was also a waste of for a number 1 pick. So that's that. Greg Oden for the Trailblazers, that's an F. And I know he was injured and everything. At the same time, if he's injured, he didn't do anything for the fucking franchise. So it really doesn't matter whether you weren't good because of injuries or you just weren't playing good. That's an F, though. Basically never played for them. It wasn't very good even when he played too. That's an F. Derrick Rose for the Bulls, I'm giving it an A. I kind of wanted to give it a B+, honestly, because he really didn't do too much for the franchise. I know, no finals appearances. I know he had several Western Conference Finals Eastern Conference Finals appearances, but MVP and all that. So I'll give him an A for that, though. But in reality, it's a B+. He was worse. At the same time, though, Russell Westbrook is better than him and also a lot healthier, so could give it a B+ because they drafted him over Russ, and Russ was the 4th pick, so it could have been a top pick as well. 2009 draft, the Clippers. I want Blake Griffin. I wanted to give him a B+ because he didn't really take them to the playoffs that far, but at the same time, he kind of made the Clippers famous, I'd say. He's arguably the greatest Clipper of all time, so just because of that, we'll give him the A. John Wall for the Wizards, 2010 draft, number 1 pick, obviously. That's an A. Also, another one I would like to give a B+, but just because he made the Wizards relevant, I'm gonna give him an A just because of that. Kyrie for the Cavaliers in the 2011 draft, it's an A++. At the same time, there are better players like Kawhi that was in that draft, but still, whatever. It's an A++. He won them a championship. Anthony Davis for the Pelicans, that's an A. In terms of production, Anthony Davis is an A+, obviously, but didn't really take him that far in the playoffs, and he got traded eventually, so that's an A. Anthony Bennett is the worst one on here, and he's an easy F. Andrew Wiggins for the Cavaliers, it's a B+, because he never really played for the Cavs, actually. He got traded as soon as he got drafted to the Minnesota Timberwolves for Kevin Love. And because of that, they ended up winning a championship in 2016. So, because they got a star player in Kevin Love out of the first-round pick, Andrew Wiggins, who wasn't very good, that was an excellent decision by the Cavaliers to trade him, though, since they ended up getting LeBron later on, too. And that's a B+, maybe even an A, just because they got Kevin Love, who was really good, by the way. He's underrated. 2015 draft, Karl-Anthony Towns, that's an A, arguably an A+, because he's one of the greatest players in the entire franchise. He's been great for them until he got traded, this season. He's been balling out for the Knicks recently, but yeah, that's an A. Ben Simmons for the Sixers, B+, because he gave them 3 good All-Stars in all defensive seasons, you know. And then eventually they used him to trade for James Harden, and because of that, he's getting a B+, because he had a couple good seasons, then, you know, became bad, and then it got traded for a really good player, so that's a B+. 2017, Markelle Fultz, that's a D, because actually, in fact, that could be an F, because they drafted Markelle Fultz instead of Jason Tatum. And Jason Tatum was the 3rd overall pick. And I don't understand why they didn't just draft Tatum, because they already had a point guard. And by the way, Markelle Fultz in college, I think he was a point guard. And they already had a point guard. In Ben Simmons, obviously. So I really don't understand why they drafted Markelle. He was pretty good, and I know he was a consensus #1 pick. But Tatum was also really good too, so I don't know why they didn't just draft Tatum, since they needed a small forward / power forward anyway. That was kind of stupid, and because of that, aside from the fact that Markelle Fultz just wasn't good for them, they didn't really get anyone out of trading him either. So just because of that, honestly, he should be an F, low-key. DeAndre Ayton for the Suns in 2018, that's a C+. He was a good player for them. Ended up getting traded for Bradley Beal, who's also solid, just a terrible contract though. But aside from that, though, he was pretty good for them. It's just that they drafted DeAndre Ayton over Luka Doncic. Who else? They drafted Luka, Trae Young, Jaren Jackson Jr., Jalen Brunson over him. They drafted, you know, DeAndre over those guys. You know, all of them are far better players than him, so that's a C+. Should be a C, honestly. Zion Williamson for the Pelicans, that's a B. He's had, like, 2 good seasons for them, but otherwise hasn't been healthy, and Ja Morant is a better player, so, yeah. 2020, Anthony Edwards, A+. Like I said earlier, younger players are going to get an... if they were good or all-star level, then they're going to get an easy A+. Anthony Edwards has been that for the past 3 seasons. That's an easy A+. Kate Cunningham, I know he's never been an all-star, but he's going to be an all-star this season. He's been really, really good. And he's been playing at a star level for like 2 seasons now, and he's been carrying the Pistons, so that's an easy A+. Also, not to mention, Kate is the best player out of the 2021 draft class by far, so yeah. Paolo Banchero, also easy A+. He's by far the best player in the 2022 draft, and he was an all-star last year. If he wasn't injured, he would be an all-star again this season, but he probably will make an All-NBA team at the end of the season if he plays enough games. Wemby, easy A+. Should have won the DPOY last year. He's going to win the DPOY this year, and, you know, probably going to be an all-star as well. That's an easy A+. And for the last pick so far is Zachary Resache. That's a B. He's solid. One of the better people in the classes, but at the same time, Jared McCain, you know, a couple other people were better than him. So, yeah, that's that. You know, B+. Anyway, that's the end of the video. I feel like those rankings were pretty good, you know. I was being a little bit harsh, you could say. At the same time, I feel like the rankings are pretty fair, because what worth is a draft pick if they're injured and doesn't play for you at all, or doesn't play well for you because they got injured? Seriously, they have no use then. They're not worth anything, so I feel like it's somewhat fair, you know, you could say. Anyway, yeah. Bye, guys.